Hello everyone and welcome back to Baron's Den for some exciting news. We are finally about to find out about the skills, stats and a few other bits of information about our Blood Bowl Gnome team, the one that went on pre-order yesterday. Now apologies if I sound out of breath, I've just been for a lovely walk on the beach when I saw on my phone that we've got some Blood Bowl news, so I thought I'd get back and see what has occurred. So, a recent reveal has shocked and delighted fans of Nuffle's great game. The all-new Gnome team, who will be hitting the gridiron soon. But how exactly do these diminutive deceivers exercise their own unique brand of Blood Bowl? Well, we caught up with Blood Bowl rules writer Jay to get the lowdown on these short fellows and their menagerie of woodland creatures. Well, a bit of a better look there at the Gnome pitch. I think it's going to be quite popular with some players because of the alternate squares with different shades of green. Makes it very clear to see where all the squares are. A brand new stunty team for Blood Bowl. Gnomes teams are in the stunty category. Teams where the majority of the players have the stunty trait, comprising of a variety of different gnome positionals alongside Woodland Foxes, Alton Forest Treemen. Gnome teams provide a fresh experience for players with their unique mix of skills and traits. While they may seem similar to halflings at first glance, although I wouldn't say that to their faces, they actually play quite differently. Where halflings are suited to dodging around the opposition, gnomes are far more aggressive than their moot-based counterparts, making them the more fighty, stunty team. So I wonder if this means that that's confirming that they're not actually going to have dodge. Okay. A bit of artwork there with the fox. Love this. Love the Blood Bowl artwork. Aha! Instead of dodge skill, gnomes all come with jump up and wrestle as standard. This makes them great for sacking the ball carrier to take both players down without causing a turnover. It also helps protect them from being hit and potentially even take down their attacker before hopping up on their turn and trotting off with glee. And here we have the skills we've been waiting on. Gnome linemen. The bread and butter of any gnome team, gnome linemen are cheap and cheerful. The combination of starting skills can throw a spanner in the works for many opposition players. And coaches will need to be careful when taking on these pint-sized pugilists. If that wasn't enough, gnome linemen also come with the right stuff, allowing their treemen teammates to launch them down the field with the ball or use them as missiles to take out the opposition. Brilliant. So here we go. Gnome linemen. 40,000 gold pieces. Is that what we said? I think we said 35, didn't we? So not far off. Movement 5, strength 2, edge 3+, passing 4+, and armour 7+, which is exactly what we predicted, with jump up, wrestle, right stuff, and stunty. So aside from being 5k more expensive, that's exactly what we were expecting. No dodge, which I'm thankful for, because with dodge as well, these were going to be absolutely destructive. We haven't got their skill access, but presuming they get agility, they'll be able to get dodge pretty quickly. Very interesting. So they are Alton Forest Treemen, so they're not going to be the Gnome Treemen that we saw in the article. It mentioned Gnome Treemen, but these aren't going to be specific ones. They're going to be the same as the Halfling ones. Gnomes are very much at home within the woods and forests of the old world, and many of their teams will employ the services of a couple of Alton Forest Treemen to add some much-needed power to their line of scrimmage. When not blocking, these bark-covered beer moths can be put to good use with their throw teammates trait to launch gnomes here, there, and everywhere. And there you go. It looks to me like they are the same as the Halfling Treeman. Same cost. Very interesting. Here we go. Gnome Beastmasters are the glue that holds a gnomish front line together. As the only player in any team that starts with the exceptional guard skill, Beastmasters can assist their allies with the help of their furred or feathered friends, which also gives them extra point of armour value over the rest of their teammates. So I think we suggested that, didn't we, when we were looking at the speculation. So let's see how far off we were with the Gnome Beastman. So yes, 55k. Yeah, we went a bit more expensive, but then we did give them strength 3. Gnome Beastmaster, movement 5. They're only strength 2, but they have got agility 3+. They are still passing on a 4+, but they come with armour 8+. So compared to what we predicted, they are cheaper, but they are strength 2. We don't know what their access is, and they've basically swapped out right stuff for guard, but they still come with wrestle. Interesting. the Gnome Illusionist. So this is the one we speculated this might be a positional, and it indeed looks like it is. So Gnome Illusionists are masters of tricks and illusionary magic, and use their unique skills to confound their opponents. Their brand new trait, Trickster, allows them to reposition when they are about to be hit by a block action, potentially removing opposition assists or even forcing an opponent to follow up into a disadvantageous position. That's very interesting. So let's see what the skills are going to be. So we've got Gnome Illusion is 50k, movement 5, strength 2, edge 3 plus, passing 3 plus. So it is like we thought. This is almost like a pseudo thrower with slightly better passing access, armor 7 plus. But they come up with jump up, stunty, trickster, and wrestle. So Trickster is a brand new trait. We haven't seen that before. So we did think maybe they'd come with pass or hypno gaze, and they haven't got either of those, but they've got this Trickster skill instead. So let's find out a little bit more about that. So Trickster, when this player is about to be hit by a block action or a special action that replaces a block action, with the exception of a block action caused by the ball and chain special action, before determining how many dice are rolled, they may be removed from the pitch and placed in any other unoccupied square adjacent to the player performing the block action. The block action then takes place as normal. If the player using this trait is holding the ball and placing themselves in the opposition end zone, the block action will still be fully resolved before any touchdown is resolved. Wow, that's interesting. So it's kind of like sidestep, but you are moving adjacent to the block player, and you are still receiving the block, but you can take yourself out of position to cause an assist. But you'd have thought that wouldn't be so important with blocking a strength 2 player. Let's read it again. When this player is about to be hit by a block action or a special action that replaces a block action, but this is with the exception of ball and chain, before determining how many dice rolled, they may be removed from the pitch and placed in any other unoccupied square adjacent to the player performing the block action. So yeah, you could literally jump to the other side of the person blocking you, and if you don't get taken down, you can, presumably on your turn, you can carry on your merry way. It might even be that you even score because of it. Oh, that's very interesting. Woodland Fox. Perhaps the most surprising player to be part of the Gnome team is the swift and lithe Woodland Fox. With their movement of 7 and agility of 2+, and the stunty trait, these canny canines can dart through opposition defensive lines with remarkable ease. And with sidestep, they can be incredibly hard to pin down. However, Woodland Foxes also come with the new My Ball trait, which prevents them from willingly giving up the ball, no matter how much they are told to drop it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so we were a bit off with this one. We thought they'd be faster but weaker. So movement 7, strength 2, edge 2+ though, with stunty and sidestep, no titchy, but with agility 2+. That means these guys are going to be happily and merrily dodging their way through all sorts of trouble. Very interesting. Armor 6+ though. That makes them weaker than the gnomes. So they are like sweet. These are basically stronger snotlings. Let's see what this might. Well, first of all, dodge, sidestep, stunty puts them right into the category of pretty decent stunty players. If you think skinks are well loved and they come with stunty and dodge, these players come in with sidestep as well. Admittedly not as fast and definitely weaker. Let's find out how much of a nega trait this My Ball is. A player with this trait may not willingly give up the ball when in possession of it, and so may not make pass actions, handoff actions, or use any other skill or trait that would allow them to relinquish possession of the ball. The only way they can lose possession of the ball is by being knocked down, placed prone, falling over, or by the effect of a skill, trait, or special rule of an opposing model. So presumably Hypnogaze could cause them to drop the ball, maybe? I'll have to look into that. But yeah, so basically once this guy gets the ball, you've got to score with him really, because you're not going to be able to get it off him again. Interesting. Gnomes bring a lot of fun and whimsy to the gridiron, but they provide an extra challenge for existing coaches looking to broaden their Blood Bowl horizons by being different to other stunty teams. Gnomes fit a niche not yet explored within the game. Their unique combination of skills and traits give the Gnome team their tricksy feeling. Utilising the Gnome Illusionist alongside the mass of Jump Up and Wrestle will allow players to get around opposition lines, and the Gnome Beastmasters will allow Gnome teams that better chance of going toe-to-toe with other stronger teams. When it comes to scoring, Woodland Foxes are your go-to piece. Although they cannot give up the ball, there is something very satisfying about watching a wily fox dart through opposition lines, pick up the ball and then run into the end zone, no doubt wagging its tail with joy. Very good. It's also worth noting that although the Gnome team is part of the Halfling Thimble Cup, they are not intended to have access to a cheap Halfling Master Chef. That's interesting. Halflings save their best rates for their own, after all. This will be something that will be addressed in the May Designer's Commentary, where it will be clarified that only Halfling teams get the discount for Halfling Master Chefs. Cheers, Jay. The Gnome team sounds like a real hoot to play, and we're sure they'll show no mercy on the pitch. The Gnome will be available to pre-order soon, to keep an eye on the Warhammer community for more information. Now that sentence reads like this was meant to go out last week, because it's already available to you already know it's going to be available to pre-order next week, so maybe they had this article to be up sooner than it has been. But all very interesting. A lot of what we thought has come to pass. We've got a couple of new interesting traits to really dig into. Trickster and My Ball are going to be interesting to get into. The massive Jump Up and Wrestle is going to be really interesting. It's not a Gnome Tree Man, it is just a normal Halfling Tree Man. They don't get access to the Halfling Master Chef. So, yeah, in a future video we'll have to really dig into the theory of what we can do with these gnomes. But for now, that is the news we've been given today, which pretty much gives us everything we need to know about the team, with the exception of their skill access. That's the only thing really we're missing. But really, that's quite a lot of information. So, yeah, really looking forward to getting the spike, reading a little bit more on what the fluff is behind the Gnome team. And the other thing to bear in mind as well, actually I've just realised, it doesn't seem like the Badger or the Goose does anything different. They are looking like they do the same job of just, basically, the model represents the guard. But it's still a very cool way of doing it. There will be some people who don't like this because they'll see animals and they'll go, oh, I don't like animals in my Blood Bowl team. But yeah, who cares? I think this looks amazing. And they're right, it's going to be a unique challenge because to a certain extent Halfling Goblins and Snotlings and Ogres all have a similar theme of dodgy stunty players. Whereas these aren't dodgy stunty players, these are more, we're actually going to get into a bit of fisticuffs with you because we can use our guard, we can use our wrestle, and we can't dodge around easily, so it's no good doing 3+3+3+ dodges with no dodge skill at first anyway. I'm really interested to see if they get general or agility access. Sorry, the Gnome Linemen. I don't see why they would, why they wouldn't necessarily get agility. But yeah, I even think that putting dodge on these guys would be well worth it if it's on a primary, because that's only 60,000. 60,000 to basically be a halfling, but you've got wrestle and jump up for 20,000 or 30,000. I think that's an absolute bargain. Anyway, that'll be all for me now. Hopefully that's given you some information about the upcoming Gnome team. And yeah, I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.